It wasn't just a movie. It was a wound. A wound that opened inside every soul that dared to watch it without looking away. In 2004, Mel Gibson didn't just direct a film. He unleashed a storm of emotions, controversy, and conviction that would shake the world to its core. For many, The Passion of the Christ wasn't just a reenactment of the crucifixion. It was an encounter, a visceral reminder of what it meant to truly suffer and to truly love. People wept in theaters. Others walked out in silence. Churches were packed again. Conversations about faith sparked at dinner tables, and even non-believers found themselves disturbed by what they had witnessed. Because for the first time in cinema history, suffering wasn't softened. Blood wasn't hidden. Pain wasn't filtered. And the silence of Jesus wasn't empty. It thundered louder than 1,000 sermons. And now, after more than 2 decades of waiting, Mel Gibson is back, but not with more of the same. He's returning with something different, something deeper, something that might not just tell a story, but awaken something in you. Because while the first film showed us how he died, this new one will reveal where he went. What happened after the final breath? After Jesus whispered, "It is finished," the screen faded, but heaven and hell ignited. And that's exactly where The Passion of the Christ 2 dares to go. Mel Gibson isn't just making a sequel. He's creating something that has never been shown on film with such intensity, such reverence, such fire. The title alone speaks volumes. The Resurrection. But don't expect empty tombs and soft music. This isn't about what happened on the surface. This is about what happened in the unseen. According to Gibson, this film will explore the mysterious 3 days between the crucifixion and the resurrection, what theologians call the harrowing of hell. Yes, Jesus descended into the depths, not as a victim, but as a conqueror. Chains snapped. Demons trembled. The gates of death cracked open. In this new chapter, the story doesn't begin with light. It begins in the darkest corner of existence. And that's exactly what Gibson wants to capture. The spiritual war that raged in silence while the world mourned above. Because the resurrection didn't start at the empty tomb. It started in hell. Let's be honest, no other director would dare to do this. Mel Gibson isn't just telling a story. He's walking a thin line between faith and controversy, cinema and spiritual warfare. He knows the weight of what he's touching. He knows this isn't just another sequel. But he also knows something else. That the world is starving for truth, for beauty, for redemption. And that's why he's risking everything again. 2 decades ago, they told him The Passion of the Christ would fail. They said people wouldn't sit through a movie in Aramaic. They said it was too violent, too spiritual, too risky. It became one of the highest grossing R-rated films of all time. And now he's back with something even bolder. He's diving into the mystery of the resurrection, the most powerful and least understood event in history. And according to those close to the production, this isn't a soft retelling. It's a visceral, metaphysical journey. Think, spiritual dimensions, realms unseen, conversations between souls and eternity. It's not meant to entertain. It's meant to awaken. And maybe to prepare us. Because what if the reason this film is coming now, in 2025, is not by chance? According to early leaks and whispers from the production set, this isn't a retelling. It's a revelation. Mel Gibson isn't just filming what happened after the resurrection. He's pulling back the veil on what no gospel ever fully described. Moments where time breaks. Where heaven and hell collide. Where the silence of the tomb becomes louder than thunder. Some of the rumored scenes. Jesus descending into the underworld, not as a prisoner, but as a warrior king, radiating divine fire. A face-to-face confrontation between Christ and Lucifer. No dialogue, just presence, just power. The moment Adam and Eve meet Jesus and realize the curse they bore for centuries is broken in front of their eyes. The trembling of the fallen angels as they hear his footsteps in the realm of the dead. Mary Magdalene witnessing a light inside the tomb that doesn't belong to this world. And that's just what's rumored. Mel Gibson has already said, "This will be the most unexpected, spiritually intense, and beautiful thing I've ever done." Some scenes, he says, will make audiences weep uncontrollably without knowing why. Others will leave people speechless, or maybe even fear. Because this isn't a movie. It's a mirror. A spiritual encounter wrapped in cinema. And if you're not ready for it, this film will shake something inside you. This isn't just a sequel. It's a spiritual statement. The Passion of the Christ 2. Resurrection is being crafted in a time when the world feels more divided, more distracted, and more lost than ever before. And that's what makes this project so dangerous. Because Mel Gibson isn't just trying to entertain. He's confronting the silence. The silence inside churches. The silence in families. The silence in our own hearts. While most Hollywood films focus on spectacle, controversy, or fleeting emotions, this film is rumored to do something radically different. It invites you to feel eternity, to look at pain, betrayal, and death, and see the divine light that shatters it all. If the first film broke box office records by showing us the brutality of the cross, this one might shatter hearts by showing us the glory after it. And that's why critics are already preparing for impact. Some say this will revive faith. Others say it might cause a storm of backlash. But one thing is certain. When the final scene fades to black, no one will leave the theater the same. Not because of what they watched, but because of what they felt. A trembling, a calling, a whisper in the soul that says, "He is alive, and he's calling you too." This isn't about entertainment. It's about confrontation. The resurrection isn't just a moment. It's a war cry from eternity. And Mel Gibson knows it. Behind the screenplay, there's not just theological research, but mystical insight. Stories from saints, visions, and early church writings, many of them never shown before on screen, are influencing this film's vision. Think about it. What happened between Good Friday and Easter Sunday? Where did Jesus go? What did he do? Who did he speak to in the realm of the dead? The answers Gibson is hinting at will shake the very foundation of casual Christianity. It won't be a clean, modern resurrection. It'll be raw, ancient, deeply spiritual, and the message will be impossible to ignore. If he conquered death, why are you still afraid to live fully for him? Gibson is known for intensity, and this time he's not holding back. Reports suggest that The Passion 2 will feature supernatural realms, the kind we've read about in Revelation, but never truly visualized. Think angels. Think demons. Think the moment hell realized it had lost. Darkness trembling in the face of divine light. But more than horror, these visuals are meant to stir the soul. This film isn't just about watching Jesus rise. It's about watching darkness flee. And Gibson understands that for a message to pierce the modern heart, it must shock it into silence first, then flood it with truth. Brace yourself, because what you see may stay with you, not as trauma, but as transformation. Why now? Why wait nearly 2 decades to release this sequel? Because this generation is starving. Not for another superhero, but for something real. We're scrolling more, but feeling less. We're connected, but more alone than ever. Mel Gibson isn't just dropping a movie. He's sounding a trumpet. In 2025, we're ready. Ready for something that feels eternal. Ready to be reminded that the tomb is empty, but our hearts don't have to be. This is why he waited. Because now, in the chaos of a world that's forgotten how to feel, we're finally desperate enough to look up again. And when we do, we just might see the stone rolling away. Why now? Why wait nearly 2 decades to release this sequel? Because this generation is starving. Not for another superhero, but for something real. We're scrolling more, but feeling less. We're connected, but more alone than ever. Mel Gibson isn't just dropping a movie. He's sounding a trumpet. In 2025, we're ready. Ready for something that feels eternal. Ready to be reminded that the tomb is empty, but our hearts don't have to be. This is why he waited. Because now, in the chaos of a world that's forgotten how to feel, we're finally desperate enough to look up again. And when we do, we just might see the stone rolling away. Let's be clear. This film isn't just about Jesus. It's about you. Because the resurrection isn't a scene from 2,000 years ago. It's a whisper still echoing in your soul. That moment when death was defeated wasn't just a victory. It was an invitation to rise, to forgive, to believe again. So here's what I want you to do. Watch this film with your heart open. Don't just observe, feel. Ask yourself what part of you still needs resurrection. Because the grave may be empty, but your purpose isn't. If this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Like this video to push this message further. Comment below, "He is alive in me." Share this video with someone who's lost their fire. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more messages that pierce the noise and reconnect you to the eternal. Mel Gibson is telling the world something. But maybe, just maybe, God is using it to tell you something too. He's not done, and neither are you.